So new year, I'm finally back from the holidays. A lot of things happen in the world, not only on Raid, but on the world of Raid and on the world outside of Raid as well. And in this case, I'm gonna do a very quick recap of everything that's been going on, leaks, new collaboration, Assassin's Creed, and also we're gonna talk about the latest bit of information they gave us, now finally up to date, with due date today, of the new faction coming and the champion that's going to be part of this collaboration and the champion that's going to be the fusion of this collaboration, and that is no other than Kassandra, the main character or one of the main characters of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another Raid video. Welcome, Happy New Year, welcome back again, and in this case, every single time I go on holidays, something's going on, they release something. I'm either gonna have to go more often on holidays or just not go on holidays at all because they always drop something. In this case, let's start from the very beginning because there's been a lot of drama the last couple of days. Plarium, basically they released the video on their own channel, this video wasn't supposed to go live, they took it straight away, some content creators made videos about it, because that was a copyright infringement because the collaboration between Ubisoft or Assassin's Creed and Raid wasn't live yet. These people got a pretty bad strike on YouTube for copyright infringement. Then we, official content creators, couldn't talk about it, basically because it was still a secret, but finally it was revealed that officially there was collaboration going on with Assassin's Creed, or between Raid and Assassin's Creed, and in this collaboration we're going to be having certain champions the same exact way as it happened with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Alice in Wonderland. Exactly a year ago, we're going to have one champion that is going to be for free login, as well as his 5-star soul. Also, we're gonna have a new bad champion, in this case like an enemy that we're gonna have in the special event dungeon, and also we're gonna get a fusion related to this collaboration. So the first information we have, and like I said, as a recap for everything that's been happening, this is the latest news from yesterday, not the latest, but the latest from yesterday, because there's going to be every single video, a little bit of information. We have this collaboration that's going to be running from the 8th of January until the 7th of May, as well as this loyalty program where we're going to be getting the champion, or the champion and the hero, the main character of the second Assassin's Creed game, which is Ezio Auditore. A lot of people would know it. This is one of the main characters from the franchise, and this is going to be exactly the same as Xenomorph, exactly the same as Michelangelo, exactly the same as Alice back in the day. Is a champion just by logging it by 7 days, we're going to be able to get him, and if we continue playing, we're going to get the 5 stars, the 5 soul stars, and we can see all the information about this champion in this infographic. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's going to be a powerful one. He's going to be able to place decreased defense, poison sensitivity, poisons, AoE, as well as stone skin. All these debuffs are going to be protected. I'm sorry, not protected. They're going to be, they're not going to need any kind of accuracy. They're always going to be warranted in a sense if we are under Veil or Perfect Veil. Remember, Assassin's Creed, we're all assassins, we're hiding in the shadows, and if we attack from the shadows, we're gonna have certain benefits, and in this case, we don't need any accuracy because they cannot be resisted. So interesting kit, powerful for arena, powerful for waves, really good combo with other champions like Xenomorph, because they're gonna be also playing with the poisons, and they also have a passive that is going to be very unique. We're going to see this passive on Kassandra as well, that whenever an enemy's HTP drop below 25% after receiving damage from any assassin, they receive additional bonus damage proportional to this champion's attack. So all of the assassins are gonna have this passive, which means like if any enemy is below 25%, they're gonna be pretty much down and dead. Interesting champion, powerful, and in this case it's for free. So great news for all of you looking for free champions, which there's a lot of you. And that was the information, the latest information from yesterday. The bad guy from this collaboration, and we have it in this other infographic that they also sent us, is the Pontiff Augustine. And this champion is off canon. It's not IP from Assassin's Creed. It's a new champion that Plarium just invented, and they placed it as the bad guy for this collaboration, which means that since this champion is not part of Assassin's Creed lore, is not protected by IP, my understanding is that this champion is gonna remain in the game and is gonna be summonable afterwards. So this is gonna remain in the pool of shards, in this case void shards, and we're gonna be able to get him after this collaboration has ended, because it's not protected by IP. It's part of Plarium, which means it's gonna stay in the game. Or that's my understanding. Plarium hasn't said that otherwise. Here you can see the champion. This guide of the guide of this guy is already on sendaplays.com, my website. You can change the language to whichever language you wish, and you're gonna have it all detailed. You can see it there, but it's a pretty interesting champion. It's pretty powerful. It's a champion that we wanted to go fast. It's gonna be a debuffer mainly. He's gonna be playing a lot and reducing a lot of turn meter. It's interesting, and like I said, it's gonna be tough to beat because he's gonna be also the bad guy to beat in the event dungeon that we're gonna be having open. It's gonna be quite of a tricky one because he's gonna have not only 1 to 30 stages like any other, but there's gonna have 5 additional ones from 30 to 35 where we're gonna be getting extra resources or items to craft relics. So there's gonna be like 35 stages. The last ones I'm guessing is quite hard to beat, but they promised that pretty juicy rewards. And also in this event we're going to be getting more of this chronophage set, that I think this is the outdated version, but basically we're going to be getting back this set back into that dungeon, as well as a new set of special event relics. And now let's jump on the latest collaboration, the latest video, the latest information up to 7th of January. The latest news are the following. We're gonna be getting another champion, and if you were connecting the dots, would be fairly easy to connect the fact that we know there's gonna be a new faction coming. This faction was gonna be based in kind of Greece and Rome and this Greco-Roman world and universe. Within the Assassin's Creed universe, there was also a game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that was also in that world, which means it made complete sense to have Cassandra being part of the new fusion that we knew there was going to be something coming earlier on the year, as well as being an assassin and as well as being part of Assassin's Creed collaboration. So this new faction is gonna have the name, and this is the first time they reveal it to us, it's a brand new surprise. They're called the Argonauts, and we can see here the background of the faction and the new flag or the new shield of the faction, the emblem, which is basically a Greek helmet with some kind of I don't know if there's snakes or horses here coming from the back. It's pretty cool, pretty neat. The background is also quite beautiful, and this is going to be the latest faction coming to the game, or the last faction coming to the game. Not sure if they're going to keep expanding that lore with more factions, but it's the latest one. We've had in the game this gap since forever, since I've been playing the game. Well, we didn't have any of the 4, if I recall correctly, like 5-6 years ago. The first one was the dwarf, and then we still had 3 of these hidden. Then the Shadow Kings were revealed, the Sylvan Watchers were revealed, and this latest hidden one is gonna be the Argonauts. This fusion is gonna start on tomorrow, Thursday, January 8th. We're planning to launch a mixed fusion event, which means normally you're gonna have 4 epics. These epics you need to get the champion fragments for them, you get all the fragments for the epics, you fuse the epics, and then you get finally the champion. And here Plarium is telling us that she was made for PvP combat, however her passive skill will definitely unlock her potential for PvE content as well. Yes and no, I mean normally I never pay much attention to what they're telling us because it's not always 100% accurate to the actual meta of the game, but let's jump right away and see the skills for ourselves, which are right here. Let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Here we have, like I said, Argonauts, new faction. Here you can be a bit more close up the champion, the banner, the background, and as you can see it's a pretty nice, pretty accurate representation of one of the main characters from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. In this case we have an A1, attacks an enemy 3 times, attacks an enemy 6 times, this is quite new, 6 times instead. If this champion has 50% HP or less, each hit decreases the enemy's turn meter by 7.5 and increases this champion's turn meter by 7.5. This is quite a lot, especially if we're going to be doing 6 hits. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. Like I mentioned before, it's part of the same lore of Assassins, and in this case they're also going to be doing extra things if they're under Veil or Perfect Veil. For example, in the case of Ezio, the debuffs couldn't be resisted, which meant he didn't need accuracy in order to place this debuff, and is going to be the same with Cassandra. This effect cannot be resisted, which means if she's under Veil or Perfect Veil, doesn't need accuracy. On the A2, Spear of Leonidas attacks an enemy before attacking, places a 60% decreased defense, and an HP burn on the target for 3 turns. This is a bit unique. There's normally not many champions that place debuffs for more than 2 turns. There's one exception, if I recall correctly. There's Jotun, it's an epic champion from the Barbarians faction that is able to place a HP burn for 4 turns, but this is very outside of the norm, it's not very common, and again has the same interaction as Ezio. If this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, these debuffs cannot be resisted, which means it doesn't need accuracy to place them. The negative side is that this is only to one enemy. It would be amazing if it would be an AoE decreased defense and AoE HP burn, but like I said, they're thinking on this champion more PvP oriented, even though she's also useful for PvE. And then places a stun debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if the damage dealt by this skill is more than 50% of the target's max HP. This against bosses probably never gonna happen, but on arenas, since the enemies have less HP, is likely. Same with waves that have stupidest amounts of HP. This might not always be the case. Of dealing in one single hit more than 50% of the target's max HP is doable, of course, but it's not going to be the norm. But this is basically the main capability of control, especially for PvP. We're going to be able to place an HP burn maybe to an enemy with a stone skin, and also stun on the rest of the enemies. So it's interesting skill, is yet to be seen how much potential this has, but it's interesting that it's for 3 turns. Then on the A3, Isu's Blessing. Isu, you know, that lineage of assassins of all civilization that some of Assassin's Creed characters is related to. So it removes all debuffs from this champion, heals them by 50% of their max HP, and the turn meter by 50. So she cleanses herself, heals half of her HP, and also turn meter increase by 50%. Also places a increase attack, Shatter, which remember that Shatter is going to help us ignore enemy defense, and 30% increase speed on this champion for 2 turns. It's a shame that she doesn't get an extra turn, it would be amazing, the same as if these 3 buffs would be for 3 turns, but it has a passive effect that prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive with 1 HP if they're under increase attack, shatter, and increase speed. She needs all 3 in order to survive death with 1 HP. I think Donatello was doing something similar, if I recall correctly. Galathir, mythical from the High Elves, also has a passive that is similar to this, however they don't have all these conditions. She needs to have all 3 in order to be able to survive death with 1 HP. This kills 6 turns, with books 4 turns, and these buffs here 2 turns, so kind of we're protected for 2 turns and unprotected for 2 other turns. Interesting skill, and it's gonna allow her to hit even harder, which means it's gonna have synergies with the A2, especially if we try to place this stun AoE. Then the same passive as the rest of the assassins, like I said, is highly and mainly intended to, if any enemy's HP drops below 25%, after receiving damage from any assassin, they receive additional bonus damage. This works very similar with the Soul Reaper Blessing. If an enemy has less than certain HP threshold, we just do an extra damage and kill that enemy. So it seems that if any enemy has less than 25% and we have a couple of assassins, this passive is going to trigger and we're going to automatically hit that enemy below this 25% threshold and killing it. And Blood of Sparta, and this is a very particular, I'm not sure if this is intended, I've asked Raid, they haven't come out with a reply yet, but this sounds weird, and hear me out. The second passive, which is unique to Cassandra, it says, whenever this champion attacks an enemy, increases this champion attack by an amount equal to 50% of the target's defense, which means when we attack, based on the enemy's defense, we increase our own attack, which means the next hit is going to be harder because we're going to be slowly increasing our attack. Also, whenever an enemy attacks this champion, increases this champion defense by an amount equal to 50% of the attacker's attack. The more they attack, the more we increase our defense. This is interesting because it doesn't say it's limited. It doesn't say it has a cap, and the way I understand, the way it's written here, this is unlimited, which means in long fights like a Hydra, like Clan Boss, these kind of places that is round after round after round and they're quite long, we can increase our attack and our defense until oblivion. We have to try, we have to test it, I have to, you know, see exactly how this works, but so far, if it's uncapped, is extra interesting. But that's basically the latest news up to Wednesday, 7th of January. There's nothing else. Probably tomorrow there'll be something else. Probably on Friday there'll be something else. We know 2 out of the, I don't know if they said 5 or 6 champions. I don't know how many they're coming. We know Ezio for free. We know the Pontiff Augustine, which is going to be the bad one. And we know Cassandra. We might have, if it's similar to Alice, 3 more champions to come, which I'm guessing if we have Ezio and we have Cassandra, which is 2 of the main assassins, 2 of the main characters. We have a lot of other different games from Assassin's Creed that we can get main characters also as extra assassins. But all in all, knowing that Cassandra is going to be the very first champion coming to the Argonites faction, also the very unique champion in terms that is part of the IP of Assassin's Creed, which means it's not going to come back to the game. It's not going to be like, it's going to be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the fusion we had with Donatello. We cannot go for him again. It was one time off. And like I said, being part of the new faction, I think it's a pretty interesting fusion. I'll definitely be going for her, just to have her. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.